dimension which is thoroughly penetrated by the grays, interdimensional grays, interdimensional archons, the Illuminati intelligence agencies, you know, and so there's an interdimensional aspect to this. Is this kind of dictatorship and anti-source world order going to dominate and going to you know, control Earth and the contiguous planets like Mars and set out to conquer this sector of the galaxy, or is it going to collapse? And that's the theme of the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, I think. My judgment is that it's going to collapse.
You mean the Iranian
that is kind of the big picture now.
Yeah.
Is Obama going to run in 2000? Is Obama going to win in 2012?
Go to the Alfred Webre channel.
You know, who knows?
Go to Alfred Lambremont Webre channel and support
has been kind of a dead
that.
job.
Watching that because he created
this. And you're out. So
this Robert Stanley
introduced a bill to.
I'm not sure who this guy is.
If
it's Robert Stanley or whatever.
Clinton was supposed to be UN Secretary General until the Monica Lewinsky incident. So maybe if Obama survives, he'll go on to be UN Secretary General, and they'll sort of pump that up into the world government.
Sure.
And they'll pump up Prince William into the first Zionist king. You know, these are sort of New World Order inflated memes, but that are still based on the Zionist system of control of gold, control of mind control, control of the Anunnaki bloodline, exploitative hierarchy. And, you know, and that's intertwined with the Zionists, with the political Zionists, bloodline families. That, you know, there are about 13 families, starting with the Rothschilds that kind of run the gold and run HARP and run the money. So how that's going to shake out, we'll see. But the purpose of going into depth, and we can go into depth, if you like, over the remaining time. The purpose of going into depth is really to expose all of this, and through the exposure, to really, at some point, the balloon bursts. At some point, it cannot sustain itself. Whether that point is in 2014, 2015, it may occur in 2015, and there's some time travel information that indicates that we may have a genuine social and political transformation on the planet and in the U.S. in the year 2016. But that's all speculative.
Don't expect the government to do it.
I'm kind of curious. I don't see what difference it makes if these guys are so well organized around the world. It doesn't matter which puppet they are put in a position of so-called presidency. They're really not in charge of the world affairs. My understanding is the people that really run the world are behind the scenes, and some of them are not even on this world.
Yeah. I.e., the Anunnaki hierarchy has been going on for 280,000 years.
But they're part of the Orion. But they're part of the Orion Empire. I mean, that's what I've come to the conclusion about the Roman Empire actually being an extension of the Orion Empire here, and the Anunnaki are just local mob bosses for this particular region of the Orion Empire.
Right. Right.
So, but you know,
and
this morning,
who are we?
This morning, really, who are we? This morning, when I turned on the radio, I was shocked to hear Newt Gingrich saying that you know that the Obama administration they're idiots and that they're acting as though that they're governing Mars. You know, I thought, wait a minute, did I hear him correctly? Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's the. Right.
They're out of
they're
out of touch with reality. They may as well be governing Mars. And I thought, what the heck kind of statement? And then I remember what you and have been saying in some of your articles that somehow, Barack Obama was on Mars back in the 80s and then brought back here. And is there any connection there? I mean, what the heck? I know Newt.
Yeah. No, there's a direct connection, and there's a connection to the Soetoro-Obama deception.
I see.
And it's this. It all revolves around Tommy Veeder. This is, they should make a movie about
Tommy
this. In
Veeder.
fact, I think it would be a really interesting movie.
Tommy Veeder.
What happened is that, I'll kind of go through a bit, is that Newt Gingrich's reference is the latest iteration of the Obama-Mars connection in American media and American politics.
Yeah.
And this really accelerated about 3 weeks ago when the White House officially denied an article and story that I had written and was published back in early November of 2011, and that is that Mars visitors Bashago and Stillings came forward and stated that they were eyewitnesses to Barry Soetoro in a Mars class and on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right after I published that, I went to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, as a judge on the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal, and on November 22nd, 2011, the judge with the court found former U.S. President George W. Bush and former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair guilty of crimes against peace for war crimes in Iraq. The day after that, I flew to Hong Kong, had to spend 24-hour layover in the Hong Kong airport there on my way to South Africa. I was circumnavigating the globe, and lo and behold, the Examiner, which was a newspaper I had been writing for since 2009, where I was one of the top, and often the top, was the most widely read political reporter. In some months, I was the top, more widely read than anybody who wrote about Obama or politics or anything. And I was the exopolitical reporter for Seattle.
Right.
They yanked my account. They broke my contract franchise on the grounds that I was, quote, publishing false information. And what they did is that they took the Obama Mars story off of the air. They took it offline, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what would happen is that the long arm of the White House, that long list of records that were sealed, and the executive order that went into the National Archives, well, my story blew his cover. So they reached into the Examiner.com, and they shut down my story, and they shut down my contract franchise there. I, of course, republished it immediately on exopolitics.com, which is the leading exopolitical website.